I'm Sid, and these are my best friends. My mom, Kim, my dad, Ty, my sister, Maddie, and our salty dog, Stella. We started our adventure refitting a Lagoon 450 before taking on the massive project of resurrecting a sunken 2021 Leopard 50. It's been one heck of a ride, but we're on this adventure to die with memories, not dreams, and live dauntless.
Motoring out of the slip and away from the boatyard as a proper sailboat was such an amazing feeling. Being on the water with her rig up was such a surreal experience because of all the time, blood, sweat, and tears that we've all put in over the last 2 years. Knowing that this is the moment that we've been waiting for, to see her in the water as she's supposed to be, and not dreaming of the day we get there. Being on the water again and feeling how she moves in it is really an indescribable experience. Even on a day like today where the wind is blowing and the water is a little rough, we're still so excited and know that this is where we're supposed to be. We still have some work ahead of us to get Dauntless exactly where we want her to, but we're reinvigorated by this monumental step, and we look forward to officially making this our boat, our home.
North Bridge, this is sailing vessel Dauntless. We are a northbound catamaran south of the bridge, 200 yards, requesting northbound traffic at your next opening. Slowing down. What's my clearance to the dock?
We ended off this hugely successful day with a beautiful sunset dinghy ride. We feel so blessed to be living this life and enjoy moments like this. We still pinch ourselves just to make sure that it's real. We are so excited about all the projects that are coming up here on Dauntless. If you'd like to get some of the behind the scenes information and exclusive footage, consider becoming one of our patrons. We'll put a link in the description down below. Want to get some of that cool gear that you've seen us wearing in the recent videos? Head on over to the web store where you can purchase your own shirt, hat, or sweatshirt. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you guys wearing your Dauntless gear. Okay, anybody who knows anything about South Florida starting pretty much January 1 is aware that seasonal rentals are a thing, which means that availability is limited and prices go through the roof. So we were lucky enough to have a friend of a friend of a friend tell us about a house that was available when we needed it after we sold the 450 at a relatively reasonable price. But there was a catch, or maybe 2 catches, I don't know. We got to stay in this rental for about 2 weeks. And then, so we moved down the block, literally on the same block, down the block into Kramer's house. Who doesn't want a Kramer on the mantle? For 9 days. We were here for 9 days. But again, grateful we had a place to stay. It's back. And now, here we are 9 days later, back in the first rental. So it's been a little up and down, but at least we had a place to stay the whole time. And we get to keep all of our stuff. And now we're gonna be here for a month-ish. So cross your fingers, we get that 50 done soon so that we can move one more time onto the 50. We are so super stoked to be back in this boat and getting into the walls. But this time, we're not gonna be digging out mud, sand, and gunk. We're gonna be getting into the electrical, which is an epic project. So we need to figure out what we have to do and where we're gonna start. So let's go check it out. Okay guys, we are finally on the 50 and it is time to dive deep into all of these projects. And one of the first projects we are doing is the massive electrical system for this boat. But we're not alone on this project. We have got some wonderful, superific expert help here. Ty and Josh, I don't know, I think they have a bromance. They love each other. We love Josh and Carolyn, so if we're being honest. But Josh is here with his company, CIS Solar.
CIS Solar.
CIS.
CIS.
Get it straight, just because they're friends.
We'll put links in the description below. If you'll recognize him, he's actually from Crowned in Style. We did a little video with them. We'll put a link for that somewhere up here as well, so you can check them out on their bus. But in the meantime, we're going to dive deep into power. So, guys, what are we doing?
All right, so Josh and I met because, well, I do boat off-grid systems, and, well, Josh does bus off-grid systems. And we kind of met online, right? Mm-hmm. We just kind of watched each other's stuff, and one day we bumped into each other in the middle of, North Palm Beach, and we just recognized each other. Didn't even know we were going to be there. Yep. Anyway, so through this friendship, Josh has decided that he doesn't want to only do buses. He wants to move into the marine world, and he loves Florida because it's awesome. Yep. And, well, I didn't know I was going to have another boat, and here we are. So we are going to wire this boat. Josh is going to help us and get a little bit of marine experience. He's now ABYC certified, so he's all legit, so I trust him. And yeah, so this massive, massive project that's coming is what we're gearing up for. He's here today because we're not starting for what, a month?
About a month.
About a month. Yeah. And we need to figure out where everything's going to go and wiring and lugs. And I am going to walk him through how this boat was wired so he kind of can get his brain wrapped around that.
We call that scope of work.
Scope of work.
Yep.
Well, we call it the trolls
Game
that are
plan.
arguing in there.
Yeah,
We're going
game
to
plan.
figure out what the game plan is going to be. So let's get on it.
Let's do it.
So thanks again so much for being here. I so appreciate it. I'm going to give you an idea of how the boat was wired because, of course, I've been through the whole deal. And so you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to be doing. How the AC's laid out, how the DC's laid out, how we're going to move the batteries to the new spot and kind of just re-gear all of that stuff because we have a ton of crap to pack into a very, very little space.
Perfect.
All right, so let's start with powers. So over here at the entrance is where the AC panel's at. The DC panel is also on the starboard side, but it's in the front cabin. So those two are fed by the power that comes in on the port side of the boat, which is I'm going to show you here in a minute, is where all the inverters, charge controllers, all that stuff is going to be. So let's get on and I'll show you.
Let's do it.
Here is the salon table that, or the seat behind the salon table here, and down in here is where they put the chiller system. Mm-hmm. That chiller system we don't like, and we're going to put individual air conditioning units in every cabin. So we're going to use that space for all of those Tesla batteries. So we got 14 of those to fit down here. And then in these other spaces that are in these seats, we've got 8 more Battle-Born 100 amp hour batteries for a 12 volt system. So we'll have a 48 volt bank and we'll have a 12 volt bank.
Okay.
Okay. Back in here, there was 2 Centurion 12 volt lead acid chargers. And then there was this inverter, and that was pretty much it. So behind here is their kind of funky universal 50, 60 hertz shore power where they kind of dump some stuff to battery and some stuff goes live stream, and we're getting rid of all of that.
Okay.
The shore power comes from the back of the boat. In that back wall over there, there's a huge cavity in there. We're going to put the auto transformer or the isolation transformer in there. And then coming into here, we're going to have 2 5,000 watt 48 volt inverters. We're going to have an auto transformer in here. We have our DC to DC 48 to 12 volt converters will be in here. 10 MPPT charge controllers will be in here.
Yep.
And a 48 volt bus, 12 volt bus, and well, all the other goodies that we've got to wrap in here. So before you show up, we're going to, of course, clean the boat, remove all of the old equipment, and I'm going to take out all of these condenser lines and all of that. So we've got a nice clean space to work with, give us backdrops and actual mounting points for all this stuff to go through. But everything, this is going to be the hub of the entire boat. You notice there's a fan up here. They did some cooling. We're going to elevate that process and do a cleaner install of that. But you and I are going to be spending a lot of time down in here.
Right here.
Probably, I don't know, what do you think, about 75 lugs and countless wire terminals and heat shrink?
It's looking like 150, yep.
About 150. So the original system is fine, but it really was, this was a lead acid boat. There was about 800 amp hours of lead acid in the boat, and it was really, they were running the entire boat on a 3,000 watt inverter, and the entire system leaned on the generator.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to do this massive solar install, and then that will feed all of this, and we'll be able to store and operate off of all of our batteries. But that's what's going on in here.
Looks like a fun project.
It does. Maddie is going to be our assistant.
Okay.
She is an unbelievable wire stripper, crimper, heat shrinker, and I've given her the task of somewhere in the neighborhood of about 5,000 terminals, because the wiring in this boat, when it went down, it was only down for about 18 hours. So as a result of that, all the connections are all corroded, but the corrosion stops anywhere from 1 to maybe 3 inches in the wire. You cut that back and strip the wire, it's brand new fresh copper. So we're not going to have to rewire the majority of the boat, which is really good. All the low voltage wiring and all of that is actually in great shape. So the big heavy cabling is not going to suit our purposes because it was all run in for
12 volt.
The 12 volt. Well, and it was how it was routed for the lead acids aren't going to be feasible. Right. So we are going to have some big spools of some 2 and 3/0 cable that we're going to be pulling through. So obviously this is the main panel for the boat for DC and AC. This is a Blue Sea Systems 360 custom panel. These are 6 months on back order.
Perfect.
And they are about $4,000 or $5,000. That's crazy. I mean, it's beautiful. But with my new laser cutter and my CNC, I'm actually going to use traditional marine switches, and I'm going to make our own panel, and we'll bus everything how we want it to be bus with 240, 120, and 12 volt. This whole deal here just swings out, and we have this depth of cabinet here, behind here to work. So let me step down, and you'll be able to see.
Oh, okay.
So we've got all of this space down in here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show, Ty? Can you take this and show?
Yep.
So we have all this space.
See if we've got some. So this is where Maddie is going to be spending a lot of time. I told her she's going to get a knee pad here, and we're going to put a brace and she can lean over. So this entire structure is the DC distribution panel for the entire boat. It is unbelievably well labeled at the ends of the wires, and I have a wiring diagram coming from Robertson and Kane, from their subcontractor that does all this. So we're going to have that. Now here's the downside to this boat. Unlike Lagoon, that marks every wire every 9 inches with an inkjet print, not one wire is marked in the entire boat, and it's all black.
Perfect.
So, have you ever used a toner?
Mm-hmm.
I have another brand new one that a friend of mine sent me. So there'll be a little bit of toning going on in the boat to figure out where this stuff goes on the other end. I mean, here it's marked no problem, but it's just finding out where it is on the other side.
Yep.
This is that magic box that does all this integration from the chart plotter and the helm to turn lights on and off. We are going to abandon that system and do a traditional switching system in the boat.
Okay.
This is going to be a much more efficient way to go. It's also going to simplify the boat.
You're listening to your whole spiel about this. I'm out of here. Put that out as a blooper.
I promise it'll be clean. I promise it'll be clean by the time you come back.
This is way too unorganized.
But you got the scope. I mean, it's actually pretty straightforward, and we have a lot of workspace once all this, of course, stuff is cleaned up. But I think it'll be good. How long do you think it's going to take? I want the predictions right now.
I would guess that I'll be here probably a week, which would probably actually lead to 2 weeks. That's what I think. There's 2 weeks worth of work.
Hey, but if you're here for 2 weeks, that means I don't have to be here alone for 1 month.
Right.
See?
Yes.
See how that works out?
See, I told you they had a
All right, let's get to it,
let's
man.
go.
Let's go.
All right, guys, we are so excited to get into this electrical project. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but we're super pumped because it means that we're one step closer to moving on to our floating home. If you haven't already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. Thank you to all of our patrons. Honestly, we could not do it without you guys and all of your support. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We'll see you guys next week.